Hello everybody, hope you guys are enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at this very large lake effect event that is going to be going on over parts of western upstate New York, northeastern Ohio, and northwestern Pennsylvania here, which is going to be dumping up to 2 to 4 feet of snowfall there over parts of upstate New York. And as you get into Pennsylvania and Ohio, you should be expecting around a foot, 6 inches to a foot of snowfall. And we're going to be talking all about that, as well as breaking down how much snowfall you're going to see and why this lake effect event is actually happening. This is one of the more significant lake effect events that you've been seeing. We already have blizzard warnings in effect for areas in northern upstate New York as well as southwestern upstate New York there. Now we also have some winter weather advisories engulfed in those areas through parts of northern upstate New York and through western New York for the most part. We also have those scattered across the Appalachian Mountains, the southern and central Appalachians, as well as there for parts of northern Michigan and the UP of Michigan as well. We also have winter weather advisories there for the northeastern coastal area of Maine, as well as a large area of winter storm warnings for northern Maine and New Hampshire. We also have a bunch of wind advisories in effect for parts of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, through Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, and Vermont as well. We also have those for areas in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. We have freeze warnings and freeze watches for southeastern Georgia and northern Florida, and that basically wraps up for the National Weather Service. Now, let's get into your current radar here, and you see we already have some of this lake effect, very weak lake effect, but we already can see the wind direction here is coming pretty much straight out of the west. And when you see that areas that are, I'll box in the areas that really get hit by these, anywhere really in these areas really get hit when you get that straight west wind. You're getting those, you get those winds off the lakes, and that really allows for some pretty good lake effect, especially as you get into those higher elevations into northwestern upstate New York, where you can get 2,000 feet or so of elevation, and that really helps aid your snowfall total. So let's look at your current surface analysis map from the Weather Prediction Center, and we see we have two two low pressure systems. We actually have one over parts of coastal Maine, as well as another one there for areas into southern Quebec. Now, your isobars, or this really shows you where your pressure is. Usually, they also show you where your wind is. Not right now. Your winds are still coming straight out of the west, but your isobars coming out of the north. So something peculiar that you don't see too much, but definitely your winds are still coming out of the west, even though your isobars are would be indicating that they would be coming straight from the north. And if that were to be the case, really you wouldn't have too much lake effect going on. So here's your snowfall analysis from the past 72 hours, which is gonna basically recap what happened with this system. The total snowfall totals aren't in for parts of Maine, New Hampshire, into Vermont, and also for northern upstate New York. They're not in yet, but they will be in by tomorrow. So and all of these are by this morning, early on this morning. So you see anywhere in those blues, you're seeing in the lightest blue, you're seeing less than an inch. In those darker blues, you're seeing 1 to 2 inches. In the even darker shade of that, you're seeing 2 to 3 inches. The second most darkest shade of blue, you're seeing 3 to 4. Then you get into those 4 to 6 inch shades as you get into the darkest shade of blue, and then 6 to 8 inches in the yellows, and then oranges are 8 to 12 inches. So you see we have a couple of those yellows popping up there for upstate New York and into parts of West Virginia, as well as areas there into southern Michigan and into parts of northern and northeastern parts of Indiana, where you actually have some 8 to 12 inch snowfall accumulation reports. And I assume, or I would I think they're probably gonna add these by tomorrow, and they're gonna most likely see probably a good area of about 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. And definitely, if you do live in those areas in northern Maine, northern New Hampshire, northern Vermont, where you're still under that snowfall, definitely you can go check out my videos on that event, which would be my last about 2 or 3 videos on that, and you can go check that out. It has my snowfall and rainfall forecast included with it. So here's what the National Weather Service at Albany is forecasting for this entire region, really from New Hampshire, Vermont, through Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and through all of upstate New York and into much of Pennsylvania there. You're saying this is your total snowfall, so this is the most likely outcome of what's going to happen. And you see anywhere in those yellows, that's about 6 to 8 inches. As you get to the orange, that's about 8 to 18 inches. And then in the reds, the lightest red is about 18 to 24. Then as you get a little bit darker, 24 to 36. And the darkest shade of red, 36 to 48 inches. And you see, we actually have a little bit of that showing up as you get west of Old Forge right there. And you see, we do have a pretty good area where your most likely outcome is over 36 inches of snowfall, which would be over 3 feet. We also have another good lake effect band where you also get pretty pummeled when you get the western winds coming out of the west near north of Jamestown, where you actually have some areas reporting 12 to 18 inches or forecasting 12 to 18 more inches of snowfall. Now we have this pretty good chunk here of northern upstate New York, which is really going to be our focus, as well as southwestern New York, where you're going to be seeing some pretty brutal conditions, as well with some gusty winds. You could actually endure some blizzard conditions. So also, something I want to show you. This is you have a 90% chance. They make your 90% or greater chance of this greater chance of snowfall totals. So basically, this map is showing you that you have a 90% chance of seeing greater snowfall totals than what they're showing you on this map. And you see that they're showing that you have a 90% chance of seeing more than 24 to 30 inches of snowfall in some of these areas. So it's just a very high likelihood that you're going to see at least over 2 feet of snowfall, and potentially we could reach 48 inches of snowfall. We'll have to see. I know the models have been trending to around 2 to 3 feet, and the highest totals around 40 inches. So we'll have to see, but definitely it's a possibility, and definitely it'll be interesting to see how this does actually play out. So here's your 10% chance or 10% chance of seeing more, or you have a 10% chance of seeing more than this, so a 90% chance of seeing less than this. And you see that area of over 2 feet of snowfall only expands. So definitely a lot of potential with this system or with this lake effect event, and we'll definitely have to keep on tracking this. So here is the European model and what it's showing. This is the high resolution European model. So you have Winter Storm Odell already getting out of here, but just as it's getting out, you're already seeing these activated west winds coming out of the west right now, or this would be by Thursday or tonight, basically. And you're seeing those winds kind of coming out of the northwest. Some of those winds coming out of the west, but they're all going to shift to the west as you see as we get earlier on on Friday, and you see most of these winds coming off from Lake Ontario and from Lake Erie coming straight west for the most part. So definitely some very, very nice conditions if you want some snowfall. But these are going to be some pretty heavy snowfall amounts, and actually this is going to be life-threatening snowfall amounts. It's going to be hard to dig yourself out of 3 or 4 feet of snowfall. Now, this would be by Friday morning. It's still snowing over northern upstate New York. And just watch how this line barely moves from Thursday night all the way through Friday morning. Then it starts shifting a little bit, but it's still over those same areas as you're getting into Friday night now. Saturday morning is when it starts to break down. Southwestern New York, northwestern Pennsylvania, still under some pretty good lake effect snowfall there. And as we continue this, you see really dies down as you get into Saturday. But you're getting from tonight all the way until about Saturday morning over many areas. If you live in southwestern New York, northwest Pennsylvania, northeast Ohio, you could potentially see some lake effect persisting through about the noon hours of Saturday, and then they should pretty much all be off by about 2 to 3, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. You shouldn't be seeing any more lake effect for the most part. Maybe a couple of snow showers here and there. Now, here's the total snowfall according to the European model, and you're seeing a good it's 18 to 24 inches, anywhere in those lighter pinks. And the European, this is from what's also going to already happen. You've already had reports of up to 11 inches of snowfall in the areas that are going to be hardest hit with this. So you're going to see maybe 11 and then another 24 inches, which would be right around that 36-inch mark. So definitely a lot of snowfall as well. The next hardest hit area besides this area, this large area in northern upstate New York, would have to be near the Buffalo area and southwestern New York and into northwestern Pennsylvania, where you could see another 6 to 9 inches of snowfall for many of those areas in northwestern Pennsylvania and southwestern upstate New York. Now, here's your winds, and I really want to show you this because it really gives you a good idea. These gray lines with the arrows attached to them, that's showing you where your winds are coming from. So you can tell these winds shift from the north, and then as they get off of Lake Superior and Lake Michigan, as well as Lake Huron, they start to move to the east or to moving straight from the west. So you're seeing those very straight winds, and look how straight this wind is. It's moving pretty much straight to the west for many of these areas, and that's going to really allow for many of these areas in northern upstate New York to really just be hammered with all that very heavy lake effect snowfall. So as we get into Thursday night, they're really picking up, or this would be tonight, and they're really picking up 35 to 40 mile per hour. These are your wind gusts in knots, so these would be add basically another 10 miles per hour for many of these, and you're seeing wind gusts of up to about 50 miles per hour. So definitely those blizzard warnings that you saw on the National Weather Service are definitely warranted with this event. So as we continue this would be by Thursday night, now getting to Friday morning. Still, you're gusting to about 50 miles per hour, more like 45 miles per hour at this point. And then they start to really die down as you get into Friday night. It's going to start to die down, but still you're seeing these very strong winds. Really, when this lake effect starts to die down by Friday night and getting to Saturday morning, you start to see these winds move out of the southwest, and this is actually where areas like Buffalo and Erie, Pennsylvania would see their most snowfall out of this, because you're getting all that moisture to just be funneled from all the way across Lake Erie, and it would be funneled right into Buffalo, New York. So really, as you get later on Friday night and into Saturday morning, you might actually see some pretty good snowfall returns or rates on near Buffalo and Erie, Pennsylvania. So definitely some very interesting weather that's actually happening through areas of the interior Northeast and areas into the Great Lakes. And you can see these winds start to die down, but still they're very, very gusty winds that you're going to be experiencing as you get through today and then through into tomorrow, and really, really dying down into Saturday. Now that is going to wrap up the video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turn on notifications, as I do make these videos daily. Anyways, guys, that was Eli's Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.